Hello, nice to have you join us on the news at 5, live on Channels Television. I'm Dominic Iwiwa, and these are the stories and reports we're tracking at the moment. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has struck out the appeal by the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, on alleged rights violation. The appellate court struck out Kanu's appeal, who has now been convicted of terrorism on the grounds that it lacked merit and became academic, following his conviction for terrorism offenses by a federal high court in Abuja. Delivering judgment, a three-member panel of the appellate court found that Kanu's claim that his fundamental rights to human dignity, rights to quality healthcare, and religion were being breached by his continued detention in the facility of the Department of State Services was no longer feasible since his conviction, life imprisonment sentence, and remand in prison custody. In the lead judgment, Justice Baloru Koromo Ugo held that the substance of the case has become academic because Kanu's lawyer, Maxwell Opara, confirmed that his client was being held in Sokoto prison. Subsequently, the court could no longer order him to be moved to Kuje prison, to which he had sought to be relocated to from the DSS custody. Justice Ugo further held that, having earlier exhibited preference for prison custody, the court could no longer grant his prayers since he has been convicted and sent to the prison where he had wanted to be kept. The judgment was on Kanu's appeal against the July 3rd judgment by Justice Taiwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja, now retired, which earlier dismissed his fundamental rights enforcement suit on the grounds that he failed to prove his case. Gunmen suspected to be members of Lakurawa terrorist group have attacked a Niger Immigration Service checkpoint in Barkin Ruwa along the Maje border in Bagudu local government area of Kebbi State, killing 3 officers. The attack, which occurred around midnight on Wednesday, has heightened fear and tension among residents of neighboring border communities. According to multiple local sources, the terrorists invaded the immigration point unexpectedly and opened fire on officers on duty, killing 3 on the spot. A security source not authorized to speak publicly also confirmed the attack, adding that the assailants fled through nearby bushes. About a month ago, personnel of the Nigerian Customs Service was killed and several official vehicles were burnt in a similar attack in the Maje border axis, raising concerns over escalating insecurity along the Nigeria-Benin border corridor in Bagudu. The Lakurawa gang has been linked to several violent incidents across parts of Kebbi State, targeting both security personnel and civilians. When contacted, spokesperson of the Kebbi State Police Command, CSP Nafiu Abubakar, confirmed the incident but noted that details were still sketchy. Efforts to obtain information concerning the incident from the Nigerian Immigration Service in the state were unsuccessful, as officials could not be reached at the time of filing this report. The Catholic Bishop of Kotongora Diocese, Bulus Yohana, has been given an update on the abduction of pupils, students, teachers from the St. Mary Catholic School Papiri in Agwara local government area of Niger State. The bishop confirms that the perpetrators have not made any form of contact yet, and that the number of missing persons is 265, out of which are 12 teachers. Bishop Joanna also refuted claims that the church is not making information available to relevant agencies.
We had 303 pupils and students missing, and 12 teachers also not seen. And so we added that number to make it 315. So we're able to get 50 out of the 315, including staff and teachers that could not be accounted for. And out of that number, we deducted them from the 315. We now have 265 as at now. That is the number that is missing. We have the names of the 265. We have the names of those who returned. The 50, we also have it in public. We have made this public. All the necessary information that we are supposed to make available, when they were available, we made them available. So the controversy, well, I don't know where that controversy is coming from, because when Mr. Ononuga's interview took place, already we have made the information that was requested available. Well, so far, we have not had any contact with them as I'm speaking now. The one I've been communicating with is the DSS in Aguara, who has been calling me, and most of the information that we have been getting especially the details. I've forwarded it to him. So I'm also calling on the government, especially the federal government and the state government, to help us come to the rescue of these those who have been abducted.
As the year winds down, the Nigerian Navy is intensifying efforts to ensure the maritime domain continues to remain safe and secure for business operations as it flags off exercise Ailewu in Lagos. The flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Abubakar Mustafa, says the exercise seeks to enhance the professional capacity and sharpen the skills of personnel who will be tested in the complex and high-stakes art of maritime security operations such as maritime interdiction drills, border exercises, anti-smuggling operations, anti-narcotics operations, and critical national infrastructure protection.
The exercise, which is scheduled from today, will end on Saturday, 29 November 2025. It is expected to serve as a veritable avenue for collaboration with all maritime stakeholders to secure, protect the maritime environment. Accordingly, 4 ships, 2 helicopters, and 2 teams of Nigerian Navy Special Boat Service and 2 tactical drones will be deployed for the exercise. The exercise will be conducted in 4 phases. The preparatory phase, movement to exercise area, conduct of the exercise, and determination of the exercise.
The persistent and emerging maritime security challenges such as terrorism, piracy, crude oil theft, illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, marine pollution, arms smuggling, and illicit trafficking seek to undermine Nigeria's ability to fully optimize the benefits of its over 220 nautical miles exclusive economic zone. The non-state actors committing these crimes are adaptive, ruthless, daring, and they operate in the dark. To counter them, we cannot simply have a deterrent posture. We must be preemptive, poised, precise, and professional, leveraging intelligence and technology to detect, deter, disrupt, and deny any criminal activity in our maritime domain.
African countries have been called upon to stop lamenting and agonizing over their inability to provide basic needs for their populace, but make use of divine given natural resources to turn around the fortunes of their country. Renowned public speaker and international mediator, Professor Patrick Lumumba, made the call at the 50th anniversary celebration of the University of Ilorin. According to Professor Lumumba, Africa remains the only continent where academics are undervalued while politicians become multimillionaires, a situation which he emphasized must change for the continent to progress. He also emphasized that the solution to the challenges of Africa lies within a reformed indigenous educational framework.
You imagine what Nigeria can do in research. You imagine what Nigeria can do in the health sector. You imagine what Nigeria can do in mining. You imagine what Nigeria can do in the blue economy. You imagine what Nigeria can do in the development of the youth. You imagine what Nigeria can do in artificial intelligence. You imagine. And stop lamenting. One of the things that we do in Africa, and if there was a gold medal in that regard, Africa would win on a daily basis. Lamentation. Agonization without organization. The time is now for this university, and as we look at education, as I talk to you now, Africa is at crossroads. We are asking ourselves, which road should we take? And permit me a little latitude. Because as I speak to you now, Africa is crumbling.
The River State House of Assembly has opened two major inquiries, one into the alleged harassment and extortion of motorists by vehicle inspection officers, and another into the worsening state of public schools across the state. At today's sitting, lawmakers went as far as calling on Governor Siminalayi Fubara to declare a state of emergency in the education sector. Our correspondent Charles Oporum reports.
It was a tense session at the River State House of Assembly as lawmakers confronted what they described as two growing threats to public safety and governance: the excessive harassment of motorists by vehicle inspection officers and the deteriorating state of education in the state. The first matter came through a motion by Honorable Enemy George, who condemns the conduct of some VIO personnel, accusing them of embarrassing the state with acts of intimidation and extortion. The House immediately summons the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Transport and the Chief VIO Officer to explain what corrective steps have been taken.
Harassment of motorists by vehicle inspection officers of the River State Ministry of Transport.
But the scrutiny soon widens beyond the roads to the classrooms. It will be recalled that after the vandalism incident at Township School 2 along Moscow Road, the Committee on Education visited the school to assess the damage. What they found and later reported to the House was a much deeper crisis: crumbling infrastructure, weak security, and widespread decay across public schools.
The schools are in terrible state, Mr. Speaker. 3, the world-class primary school structures are in a state of ruin. Everything has collapsed. 4, the library computer laboratories have been looted, vandalized. The desks, number 5 chair, windows, doors have been vandalized. 6, electrical appliances, everything that has to do with computer for the learning of the children has been carted away by criminals, young criminals. School 1 has only 4 permanent teachers and 3 support teachers. School 2 has 5 permanent teachers and 3 support teachers. Only 4 teachers? Yes, sir. Yes. A support teacher in school 2 was seen teaching primary 1 and primary 2 together in the same class. Hold on. One teacher is teaching 2 classes. Mr. Speaker, in the same class. During debate, I would like to inform this House of what I saw.
Revelations prompt Speaker Martin Amewuli to condemn the situation in strong terms, warning that the state cannot afford to ignore a collapsing education system.
Public schools in River State, particularly at the primary and secondary level, are generally in a deplorable condition. The reason is because of abandonment by people who are supposed to be doing the needful.
The debate quickly gains emotional momentum, with lawmakers insisting that the executive must take drastic steps to save the future of Rivers' children.
Upon what we said when this motion came up, nothing has happened. The River State Executive Council has not done anything. They have done nothing to remedy the situation. This is a sad commentary. But let me just re-emphasize his call for a declaration of state of emergency on our primary and secondary schools.
As the Assembly intensifies oversight across key sectors, from transport to education, lawmakers insist their actions are aimed at restoring confidence, strengthening institutions, and ensuring accountability in Rivers State. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
Back, former governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai, has formally obtained his membership card of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, a move that signals a major political shift ahead of the 2027 general election. The former governor was accompanied by his teaming supporters and former aides to the Ugwain Saraki ward in Kaduna North local government area, where he completed his registration with the ADC and received his membership card at the party office. Speaking after obtaining his ADC membership card, Mr. El-Rufai expressed optimism that ADC will provide a credible platform and alternative for Nigerians to vote out the ruling All Progressives Congress from power due to its incompetency. urges the youth from 18 years and above to ensure they obtain the ADC membership card, which will form their power to vote for the party and candidate of the choice in 2027.
We contributed in bringing them into office. We therefore have a duty to contribute in sending them back home so they go to prison by the grace of God. So I want to call on all the people of Kaduna State who know what we did in our 8 years and can compare what is going on now to come out en masse, register with the ADC, and get their permanent voters card and prepare to vote out these incompetent, cursed, and useless people pretending to be a government. I want to call on all citizens of Kaduna State of 18 years and above to come out en masse and register with the All African Democratic Congress. By the grace of God, along with other partners, we are going to repeat what we did in 2016 when we got rid of the incompetent, thieving, stealing, and corrupt PDP administration.
Abia State's Governor Dr. Alex Oti has presented a proposed budget of 1.16 trillion naira for the 2026 fiscal year to members of the State House of Assembly. Presenting the budget at the State House of Assembly in Umuahia, the state's capital, the governor says the budget, tagged Budget of Acceleration and New Possibilities, reflects a 13% increase from the 2025 appropriation.
The size of the total envelope proposed for the 2026 fiscal year is 1.016 trillion, and that is 1,16,228,072,651 naira 99 kobo. This figure represents a 13% increase from the 2025 appropriation numbers and captures the scale of our ambition to drive rapid socioeconomic growth and sustained development through investments in infrastructural projects, social services, security, and similar outlays that are at the heart of the ongoing transformation of the state. In consistency with the standard that had been set since the presentation of our first budget proposal 2 years ago, we shall commit 811.8 billion, representing 80% of the entire outlay, to the execution of capital projects, while the sum of 204.4 billion, representing 20% of the budget, shall be committed to recurrent spending. A total outlay of 811.8 billion for capital projects represents a 32% jump from our 2025 proposals.
The Speaker of the House, Emmanuel Emerua, in his response, assures the governor that the Assembly will perform its constitutional duty by giving the budget the legislative attention it deserves.
This elaborate budget presentation, which is christened Budget of Acceleration and New Possibilities, is a budget of recovery, as I understand it, because initially where we found ourselves in 2023 was inside a very big hole, which I am very happy that we are gradually closing up the hole and ultimately approaching the ground zero. And that is why this budget is christened Budget of Acceleration and New Possibilities.
In the world of business, the Central Securities Clearing System (PLC) today officially implements the T2 settlement cycle in the Nigerian capital market. A statement from the CSCS says that with the transition to the T2 settlement cycle, all trades executed from today will now settle 2 business days after the trade date, and this will strengthen operational efficiency, enhance market liquidity, and significantly reduce counterparty risk, while ensuring quicker access to funds and securities. The transition also positions Nigeria more competitively within the global capital market landscape, where shorter settlement cycles are increasingly becoming the standard. The Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Dr. Momotimi Agama, had in the middle of the year announced plans to transition Nigeria's capital market from a T3 to a T2 settlement cycle. Nigeria's economic momentum improved further in November as the latest Purchasing Managers Index (PMI) data from the central bank shows that it maintained an expansionary trend for the 12th consecutive month. According to the CBN PMI, the composite index rose to 56.4 points this month, up from 55.4 points in October, signaling stronger activity levels and renewed optimism across the private sector. According to the CBN, growth was supported by solid performances in the services, agriculture, and industrial segments. The performance of the agriculture sector remained a major anchor for overall growth, extending its expansion streak and maintaining strong readings across food production and raw material supply. In total, 29 out of 36 subsectors reported expansion during the month, underscoring the depth of the current growth cycle and indicating that activity improvements are not isolated to a single segment of the economy. Now, Delta State's Governor Sheriff Oborowori has presented the state's 2026 budget of 1.664 trillion naira to the state's House of Assembly. While presenting the appropriation bill tagged Budget of Acceleration, the More Agenda, the governor explained that 499 billion naira, about 30% of the total sum, is earmarked for recurrent costs, while 1.165 trillion, representing 70%, is devoted to capital projects. The governor notes that the budget is 70% higher than that of 2025 and will be financed mainly through statutory allocations, internally generated revenue, mineral derivation, VAT, savings, and oil revenue recoveries.
Are we able to manage our resources because we are being prudent? And when you are being prudent and pay as and when due, contractors will not delay projects. And with that, we are doing our best, and we are very sure that between now and next year, we will not still borrow. But he said, giving the chunk of this to works, 450 billion. We are doing a lot. And when you say work, it's not only highways. River line is still there. So 450 billion is something that Delta State need more roads, need more bridges, need more flyovers. Because Delta State is the only state in Nigeria that have more than 10 multiple cities. So if you don't give enough budget for the state, it's difficult to be able to accomplish all those projects.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, says it will carry out a temporary shutdown of its information technology systems for 3 days to carry out maintenance routine. According to a notice issued on Thursday, the downtime will run from today, Friday, November 28th, to Sunday, November 30th, and could affect all applications and infrastructure. The announcement by the FIRS comes just 2 days after the tax agency hosted a webinar to clarify upcoming changes in corporate income tax obligations for small companies. The upcoming downtime is expected to be part of ongoing system upgrades to support these regulatory changes. And that's it on business news and news at 5. I'm Dominic Iwiwu. Up next is The World Today.